All right, I would like to welcome back on Joe Manniello, Newsday's NFL pick columnist. Joe, how you doing?
Doing good, Matt. How are you?
Doing pretty good. It was a tough week for both of us, unfortunately. We had the same picks, and we both went 1-4-1. So
Yeah, that Cleveland game was the worst because I don't know about you, but I really liked them to win that game. All year I've been telling you that Steelers are overrated.
Right.
And then once Stefanski got out, I guess both of us overvalued the fact of him not being there because it didn't matter one bit.
No, absolutely. It didn't matter at all. So with that, we are down to 4 games. Should be 4 pretty solid games. The first one on the slate is Packers and Rams, and the Packers are favored by 6.5. Who do you like in this game?
Oh, 6.5. I thought it was still 7. Like I told you before we went on the air here, on the YouTube of the podcast, I don't really have a great feel on any of these games, to be honest with you guys. But in this one, I think I'm going to take the points. The Rams, I mean, they have top-ranked defense. They showed me something last week. And I don't know if it was more about Seattle's offense. I guess it was more about the Rams' defense. I mean, they were impressive. Pick 6 of Wilson. I mean, they played really well. And I think the Packers will win this game because of the home seed, the number 1 seed with the bye. I think they find a way to win. But I think it's going to be a really close game, like a 24-20 kind of game. And it would not surprise me if the Rams won. I love Sean McVay. I think Aaron Donald's great. He's going to play. Jalen Ramsey has been phenomenal. I'm not sure what the deal with I guess Goff is going to play, but he's not 100%. But I trust McVay to devise a game plan where they try to keep Rodgers off the field, maybe go run heavy or a couple trick plays, something where it's get Rodgers as few possessions as possible. So I think this is going to be a really close game, and getting 6.5 points is a lot in the playoffs. One thing that travels in the cold, Green Bay's at home, but good coaching and good defense, and the Rams have a lot of that. That's true. So I love the 6.5 points. So Packers, I think, find a way to win, 24-20 kind of game, but I'll take the 6.5 points, and I think the Rams are a live underdog.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Packers this week at -6.5. And my reasoning behind it is I'm not sure about the quarterback situation for the Rams. I don't know how healthy Goff really is. And something about that team traveling on the road to play a cold weather game in Green Bay, I feel like that's what Aaron Rodgers lives for. He loves it. Now, you are scaring me a little bit with that defense talk. The Rams do have it's the best defense in football. They've been playing really good football. They just shut down I almost said the Rams, the Seahawks this past week. But I think the Packers are going to be able to do enough offensively to get by and cover this spread. And for the Rams, I don't know if they're going to be able to keep pace. Even with that good defense, I don't know if it's going to be enough to get the job done because I don't trust the offense right now with the quarterback banged up.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like I said last week, really important stat, McVay, he's now 37-0 when leading at halftime. So if this game, the Rams jump out to an early lead here, I think the Packers are in trouble.
There we go. So with that, the second game on Saturday is the Bills and the Ravens. The Bills are favored by 2.5. Who do you like in this one?
That game up to 2. I thought that was 1 point. Is that the most current line, 2.5? Yeah, this is the toughest game of the week to pick. Last week when we did our picks for the whole postseason before it started, this is my pick for the AFC title game. So the Browns threw a monkey wrench into that plan. So this is really tough. I mean, I picked the Bills to win the Super Bowl, so I'm not going to back down now. But I don't know, something about the Ravens, the fact that they won last week after they were trailing 10-0 is one of those things where I feel like this team can get hot. Both teams are hot. Both the Bills, I think, have won 7 or 8 in a row, and the Ravens maybe 6 or 7. So both of them haven't lost in a while. I think this is going to be a really competitive game. I can see it being a 1-point game, so I'm actually tempted to take the 2.5 points. But I'm going to stick with Buffalo, lay the 2.5. I think it's a 3-point game either way. Maybe like a 30-27 game either way. So if the Bills win, if they win by 1 or 2, so be it. Like I always say, you can't. I mean, Chris Berman used to do that a lot. 2.5 spread. Oh, I'll take the favorite team to win by 1. The other team covers. It's just so hard to predict that.
Right.
So, I mean, the way Josh Allen was playing. The thing is, I don't know if the Bills defense can stop Lamar Jackson if he gets going. I mean, and the fact that they rallied from 10-0 down last week is huge to me because that's the way to beat them. The way they lost in the playoffs against the Chargers 2 years ago and the Titans last year, and every time they face the Chiefs, they're always playing from behind. And Jackson, as great as he is, he's more of a running quarterback. And he showed me something last week. I think the Ravens might be one of those teams, catch lightning in a bottle and go all the way to the Super Bowl. So I'm a little scared here with my Buffalo pick, but I'm going to stick with it. They're home. I think Sean McDermott's a great coach, and The Bills have a ton of weapons, and Josh Allen just plays phenomenal. So I think the Bills do find a way to win, but I'm not super confident about it. So give me the Bills 30-27, maybe even overtime. But I'll lay the 2.5.
Okay, I'm with you on this one. I'm going with the Bills as well, -2.5. But this was the toughest game for me to pick on this slate because I love the Bills. Like we said, they're a hot team, and they won a good game against the Colts. And then the Ravens, we were talking about them too last week and how they seem to be getting hot at the right time as well. And this should be a really good matchup. You said it could go really either way. And got to give credit to Lamar Jackson. He got down early and proved that he could come back in a game and really put the team on his back. I thought he played an excellent game against the Titans. With that being said, I think that with Josh Allen playing at an MVP type of caliber pace right now, I think that gives them a slight edge. That's the only difference really that I'm looking at right now with these two teams. They again, would I be shocked if the Ravens won this game? Absolutely not. But I agree with you. I think this is a field goal game, so the 2.5 is a pretty nice number. But I'll gonna give it in favor of the home team and the Bills here. But this is not an easy game for me to pick.
Yeah. Also, the Ravens last week, the defense was phenomenal. They held Derrick Henry to, I think, 40 rushing yards, so they deserve a lot of credit.
Absolutely.
Are we going to indicate which one's our best bet? Or
yes, I was planning on doing that as well.
Okay.
Browns and Chiefs up next. Chiefs favored by 10. Who do you like?
Oh, here comes a segue. Speaking of best bets, I'm going to go with the Browns as my best bet of the week. Like I said, I don't like any of these games overwhelmingly, but 10 points is just too much. The Browns, what a win last week. I know the Steelers had that awful start with the bad snap, but the Browns just took it to them. And as great as Kansas City is, I mean, they went 14-1 in the games Patrick Mahomes started the last game he sat out. But if you look at those games, and I'm not trying to, if there's any Kansas City fans out there, they're very sensitive if anyone talks bad about the champs. I'm not trying to downplay how great they are. I mean, I know Mahomes is going to be the all-time great, and Andy Reid's great. Eric Bieniemy, they have tons of weapons. Defense plays well in the playoffs. And if you look at their games, they played a lot of close games. They beat the Chargers in overtime week 2. They almost lost to the Carolina Panthers, the 5-win Panthers at home. They lost to the Raiders once, and they probably should have lost a second time in Vegas when they had a late drive to win. I mean, they played a ton of close games, and I just don't think that they're going to come in and blow the doors off the Browns here. I know it's the playoffs, but the Browns are playing with house money. I mean, this is the definition of house money. First time they won a playoff game in 26 seasons. Now they go to Kansas City, the defending champs. All of the pressure is on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Most people think they're going to repeat or at least get back to the Super Bowl. And Baker Mayfield, I mean, they have the whole revival of their Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Big 12 games. I think this is going to be one of those games, not 50 points, but like a 35-30 kind of game. I think this is going to be a close game in the fourth quarter. If you look at the Chiefs last year, every game they won in the playoffs, they were losing early on, 24-0 against the Texans. They wound up covering, which was amazing. Then they were down, I think, 10 against the Titans in the title game. And then we all know they were down 20-10 in the Super Bowl before winning 31-20. So all their games, they get out to slow starts. And the Browns, with Nick Chubb and Mayfield and Landry, and if Stefanski can return, I think he'll devise a nice little game plan here where they'll be able to put up some points. So even if if the Chiefs get behind, I think the Browns can score enough points where the Chiefs have to keep scoring, and it's going to be a close game. So I'm going to go with the Browns getting 10 or 10.5. I'm sorry.
10.
10. I'm going to go with the Browns, best bet, lock of the week, 10 points.
I'm going to disagree with you, Joe. I'm taking the Chiefs as my best bet this week.
Oh, good. Finally, some disagreement.
There we go. And I'll tell you why. I think the Browns last week, I think that was their Super Bowl. They have a big rivalry against the Steelers. Obviously, Juju was running his mouth a lot, and that Claypool was running his mouth too, and we saw that online and going back and forth with Baker Mayfield and the same old Browns, and they come out, and no one expected them to win, and they won that game. But for that to carry over a second week in a row against a well-rested Chiefs team, I think the Chiefs come and are ready to roll and put up 40 points in this game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'll say 40-24, the Chiefs win this one. I think the offense comes out rolling. I don't think the Browns are going to be able to do enough to keep pace with them, and I think they fall a little bit flat after a very good performance against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and a dominant one in the wild card game.
Interesting that we have different best bets there. And when I was giving my Browns pick, I was going on and on. I lost my train of thought there for a minute. I don't know if you heard me lose my train of thought, but I was thinking about that too. Like, I'm a big believer in the letdown factor. Like, if you have a huge win one week against a rival, it's always common to, have that letdown. But I don't see it, and I don't believe it in the playoffs. I mean, the Browns win. To me, there's so much motivation there to beat the champs on the road, and then if they win, they're one win away from the Super Bowl. So I'm not buying into your they're going to be it's the Super Bowl. I'm not buying into that theory this week.
All right. So last game on the slate is the Bucs versus the Saints. The Saints are favored by 3. Who do you like here?
Yeah, and this is similar to the Bills game. I feel like this is going to be either team can win by 3. So I'm going to take the points at the Bucs. I just feel like the Saints. I mean, the best thing about that game last week was it was on Nickelodeon. They did great. The broadcast was great. On Twitter buddies with Noah Eagle, he did a great job, and Nate Burleson and the young girl, I forgot her name, they all did a great job, and it was just a tremendous broadcast, and people, including myself, had a lot of fun with it on Twitter. But the game itself was a snooze fest, and maybe it's just the Bears stink, but the Saints, they didn't look too great to me, and I just, the old adage, it's hard to beat one team twice in an NFL season. Now, the Saints would have to do, if they beat the Bucs, it would be 3 times. They beat them in the opener. It was a semi-close game. They had a pick 6 of Brady. I think they won by 10. And then they beat them at Tampa Bay on a Sunday night game, middle of the year, 38-3. They absolutely crushed them. So I don't know. I just feel like, Brady's 43, but he's still playing well. I don't know if the Saints are going to beat him 3 times in one season. I think the Bucs are. If I had to pick the winner here, I'm going to pick the Bucs to win the game outright and set up a all Bay NFC title match, Tampa Bay at Green Bay.
Oh, okay.
But I just don't think the Saints. I don't know, something about them. Maybe it's because I've been burned by them in the past. Picking them to win Super Bowl last year, and then they lost in the first round. I don't know, something about the offense. It's just they don't seem like a dominant team to me. So I think I think Brady could build off, feed off, him. He's super motivated, even though with the 6 rings, he always wants to prove himself. I could totally see them going in there, feeding off the whole, they came into our building and they beat us 38-3. Are we going to let this team beat us 3 times in one season? I could totally, see Arians and the whole team feeding off of that. So I think it's going to be a great game, back and forth game, like a 38-35 instant classic. So I think the Bucs actually find a way to win this game. So give me the Bucs with the points.
Okay, and usually I'm going to disagree. I'm taking the Saints -3. Usually I buy into that notion with it's very difficult to beat a team 3 times. For me, I look at this Saints team and I figure that, okay, in the playoffs, something usually tends to go a little bit wonky here. But in their last 10 games, they've only lost against the spread 1 time, the Saints, and that was against the Eagles, actually, when they surprisingly lost 24-21. I think that this team is it's going to be a good game, but I think they're kind of hitting their stride at the right time with getting Drew Brees back, and they put up a good performance against the Bears, and obviously Tampa Bay is a much more talented team than the Bears, but I think the Saints are going to end up to do enough to win this game by somewhere to around 4 to 6 points. Would I be, I guess I'll say it like this, would I be stunned if Tampa Bay won? No, but I'm willing to bet on the Saints at home, and also the fact that they've been covering a ton. So I'm going to continue to roll with them.
Yeah, well, the old adage is it's hard to beat a team twice. This would be 3 times. This is even tougher, but I get your point. I mean, that's not the main reason why I'm picking the Bucs. I just feel like the Saints aren't a dominant team. I think it's a toss-up game, but I think Brady has a shot to get there, to get back to the first time NFC title game.
Absolutely. So let's run through these. As for the first game, the Packers and the Rams, I like the Packers -6.5. Joe is on the Rams +6.5. Both of us are on the Bills -2.5 over the Ravens. For my best bet, I'm taking the Chiefs -10 over the Browns. Joe is going with the Browns +10 for his best bet. I like the Saints -3, and Joe is on the Bucs +3. So that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you for coming on with me, Joe. Always appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great that we have 3 different picks, including best bet. So we finally gave the viewers some contrasting information.
There you go. Finally disagree a little bit. Perfect.
All right, Matt. Thank you.